but just make a strip of honey across this door. This is the time of the year where checking out your queen, how she's doing, is so important, because you got to start the year with a good queen or your hive will never pick up steam. Hi, I'm David Burns. Thanks for joining me today. I'm pumped and excited, on fire today. Look at this. Got what's called a battery box full of queens. And today I'm going to show you a couple of things about queens and handling queens that you may not have thought about. Got a few queens in cages here on top, and I've been feeding them some honey. Kind of cold still in Illinois, so we're having to play with queens a little differently than we do when the season is warmer and getting going. So today I want to talk to you about what do you do when you start raising queens. And at the end of this video, I'm going to direct you to a series of videos that I put together for you guys who are interested in raising your own queens. Oh my gosh, I think it's so important that beekeepers learn to raise their own queens. Now I know you might think, oh no, I'll leave that up to the big guys. But look, you can be a little guy or gal and raise your own queens. It's really good. When I first started raising my own queens, it was so fun and enjoyable that I got sucked into it. I mean, it's just a hoot to play with queens and to raise your own queens. Let's face it, today when you have to buy a queen, you got to pay near 70, 80 bucks by the time you buy a $40 queen and $40 shipping to get it to you. And then you have to wait on the timing of when they can finally get one to you. So raising your own queens, you save money, plus you have the freedom, like I do today, to have 10 queens here ready at my disposal, maybe 9. But I want to show you today one of the things that I talk about both in my queen rearing online course and my queen rearing book that Dr. John Zavishlak and I wrote, is that some of you may want to raise queens just for yourself. That's great. You may want to have a few on hand sitting in a nucleus or something just in case you should need a queen. But there are some times that you may feel that having queens available to help out other beekeepers in your area can be beneficial, both to you and the beekeeper. In other words, you can sell it to a beekeeper and they're glad to get it because you're local. Now, also by raising your own queens, you can kind of spend a little more time developing your own characteristics, your own stock, so to speak, your own race, if you want to call it that. It's really not. But you may want to develop characteristics. In other words, raise queens, graft queens from hives that you like, that are gentle, they produce a lot of honey, they're easy to work, they don't have diseases, they show some resistance to mites, so you can start to control and work with genetics. Now today what we're going to do is open up the battery box. In this battery box, what is in this box? I've got other boxes too, look at this. I got some other boxes I've got to open up today too, but we're going to start with the orange battery box. It's called a battery box. I really don't know why. I think it's because it kind of looks like a battery on the bottom, how they have those little cells like that. Maybe that's why it's called a battery box. But the battery box means that it's a place where we can take these jays, bees, queens, cages like this, and we can poke them down like into little holes, receiving holes in the bottom. And in those little holes, they stand up, and then I throw a bunch of young bees on there. And the young bees keep feeding through the holes on the JB's cages. Now, normally in the case where I'm holding or banking queens, I bank them. A lot of you say, how do you bank queens? These are mated queens. How do you bank them? How do you save them? Well, I put them in these little cages and poke them in a battery box. That's one way to bank them. Now, I don't add attendants. Now, you may see in these two here that they do have attendants. That's because these are ready to be shipped to a beekeeper. And so they have attendants to care for the queen while they're being shipped. But the ones inside the cage or inside the battery box, they're just individual queens in individual cages being fed by the bees that are around them. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you this because I know you're like, just open the darn battery box, would you? Now, bees are going to fly out because they've been shut up in here for quite a while. And you'll see that I have a good number of bees that are in here. And you can see here what it looks like inside a battery box. I didn't have as many in here as I thought I would. Looks like I have 1, 2, 3, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got about 8 queens here, counting the 2. Now, the bees that are taking care of these queens are feeding them. So every now and again, what I do is I give them a little bit of honey, and that way they can be nourished to take care of the queens by feeding through the cages, the holes in the cages. Now let me lift one out and I'll show you what it looks like. We'll take this one here, and you can see the queen walking around in there, and you can see nurse bees tending to her, little young bees that are trying to feed her through the cage. So in the case where you want to ship this, what you have to decide is, how do I get the attendants inside her cage without her getting out? Now this is a technique that I sort of had to master on my own. Nobody gave me any instructions on how to do it, but I just figured out, a way to do it. So I want to show you guys how to do it in case you're interested in either doing it for your own benefits. Maybe you prefer to have your queens banked with attendants in them like these are, or you prefer, maybe you're going to ship some of your queens that you're raising. And I love to ship queens, and I have kind of a plan, a way of shipping queens that really works out well. Now, one of the ways that you can insert these worker bees, nurse bees, into this queen cage is by opening this little door, this little manhole cover here, and then just pick up the worker bees and shove them in there. But the key is, how do you pick them up? Obviously, if you're picking them up wrong, they're going to sting you on your fingers. So let me show you the technique that I developed to make it easy to pick up these worker bees and insert them into cages. Now, before I show you guys how to pick up these bees and put them in a queen cage, let me encourage you to please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate and love you guys so much for watching my YouTube channel here about beekeeping. I think I'm the oldest, longest running beekeeping YouTube channel in existence today. I started back in 2008. I work hard for you guys, so please subscribe. Now let's get back to work. What I've done is I've just learned to take honey and put a little strip of honey on the door. Sometimes I lay them on a piece of cardboard, whatever you need to do, but just make a strip of honey across this door. See how I'm making this long strip of honey. Now it works better if it sits flat. This may run a little bit, and you'll notice what's happening is all of my bees are actually lined up in a row eating this honey. You can see here's my queen in a cage right here. I'm getting these worker bees off. And there's my queen. You can see her there moving around. So we're going to open this door right here. And once we get the door open, be careful, you know where your queen is. Put your finger over the hole like that. So you can see here, I've got my queen cage ready to receive the attendants. Now in my case here, I'm going to turn this a little bit. You can see here that my bees are lined up. When they eat honey like this, their wings are behind them. And so all I have to do is reach in and pick up a worker bee like this. And once I have her, she really can't sting me because look where her stinger is. It's pointing up in the air. So I want to find the queen and make sure she's in the top of the cage and just walk the worker bee down into there. Did you see that? Let me try it again. There's a queen, there's a bee there. Grab the two back wings like this. I've got kind of two stuck together there. But what you want to do is just grab one, get this other one off. Okay, so I've got this. See how this stinger is oriented up, away from my fingers. And so by putting that strip of honey like that, it allows the wings to be pointed upward more for me to grab the wings. And now I'm just going to make sure all the bees are up and just walk this worker bee right in. And I usually put about 3 of them in here. And I like to do this because that bee that I just picked up is full of honey. They're eating honey and they can immediately start feeding the queen or producing some royal jelly that will help the queen have the food she needs. So in this case here, you've seen how a strip, you can just pick these little bees up by their back wings like this, and you can hold them by their wings, and they're dripping with honey. It does nourish them to make more royal jelly to feed the queen. You can put them in a queen cage. So I thought it'd be fun to show you guys how I add attendants to these queen cages like this. What do we got? 3 here. Let's go ahead and see if we can do another one. Now, you may be asking, aren't these bees going to sting you? Well, of course they're able to sting us. But if you handle them and if you work correctly, then most of the time you can get by with the bees not really caring much about what you're doing. So we're brushing the bees off this cage. We've got all the bees off, see? And so now we're going to open the hatch door right here. Make sure the queen's not going to fly out. Keep your finger over the hole at the top like that. And then if you hold it up, the queen will kind of go up to the top of the cage usually. And so now, well, my little line got all covered up with bees, but you can still start searching for worker bees that have wings up in the air like this one does. And so again, you can see here, the queen is walking up. I just put head first, the worker bee walks right in. Do you see that? So all day long, you can do this and you can get pretty darn good at it after a while. And just keep going and shoving bees in that little hole there, one after another. Again, I put about 3 in there. And so if you try to pick up a bee and you only grab one wing, it's best just to let go, because with one wing, they can swing around and sting you. And so it's important to pick them up by both wings like this. Look at that. Got honey on their proboscis. Make sure the bees are away from this hole right here. Now they're kind of gathered by it. I got a little honey on my fingers, I think. So it doesn't really matter as long as you get one bee kind of head first in there. They'll move out of the way like that. Yeah, so I got 3 in there this time. Closing the door, be careful that no bees or have a leg or something, they'll get caught. Isn't that a great little tip on how to actually do that? I really appreciate you guys sending me things a lot. This box here, I'm pretty sure I know what it is because I recognize it from the state of Nevada. Now, I spoke in Nevada a few months ago and I forgot to get a coffee mug when I was there, but I had one of my YouTube viewers say, I'll send you one, David. So look at this. Yep, boy, this is a lightweight cup. I mean, it is really light. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, it is like so cool. Look at that. David, I got you this mug because it would be safe to ship no matter what. I'm enjoying your YouTubes, planning on using some of your tips next winter. Thanks again for coming to our conference, Marvin, Macon Valley Beekeepers. Wow, Marvin, that's like a old out west miner, gold digger. Look at that. It's like a tin cup, but look what it says. Oh, I appreciate that so much. I am going to enjoy coffee in this forever. That is a lot of fun. That is a hoot. Any of you want to send me some coffee mugs, you know, I get my existence off of coffee, so I appreciate it. Now look at this. Look, what a box. Let's find out what someone sent me in this box. Wow, what can it be? Oh, got a nice little letter here. Okay, this is from Ken. I sent you this thinking it would be a good thing for you to put in the background or foreground of your YouTube set. I made it on my Glow Forge and hope you like it. The front side has a protective film that just peels off. Interesting, not a coffee mug. Wow. Oh, look at this. Look at that. All right, here we go. Look at this. Oh. Oh. Whoa. A varroa mite with a no way. And I bet it sits on either, this is probably a stand that has lights on it that you plug in. Yep. Oh, wow, look at that. Oh, little light control switch. Yep, here's the stand. Wow, that is so good, Ken. That will be cool on my YouTube set. Look at that. You just put it like this, turn the light on, and I guess it's going to glow different colors. Now, everyone's going to want this. They're going to say, oh my gosh, who's this Ken guy? Where do I get this? How do I have this made? That is so cool. Thanks a lot, Ken. I appreciate it. It's so fun to raise your own queens like this, to have queens at your disposal. Please watch my videos on how to raise your own queens. I'll walk you through it. I want you to take my queen rearing course where I teach you how to raise queens. I want you to get my queen rearing book that Dr. John Zavishlak and I wrote. There's no need to purchase it. You just need to go online. I'll leave a link in the description. You can download it, a PDF file for free, and print it off and go through it. If you want to watch my videos on how to raise queens, check them out right here with the first one and then follow the ones after that. I'll see you guys over there.